Remember those point-and-click PC adventure games from the 90s? Well, maybe not, because I'm old, and you might not be, but if you do, or if you don't, this is one of those in board game form. Today, on the Cardboard Herald, we are talking through our review of the adventure series The Dungeon by Matthew Dunstan and Phil Walker Harding. So some of you are going to be more familiar with KOSMOS's Exit game series, and this is kind of a similar thing, just not quite as mind-bendingly difficult. I mean, yeah, that is a great thing to have if you want an escape room in a box, but this is more of a narrative puzzle. It's easier to get through, and it's a little bit more friendly. The way that this thing works is that you have several decks of cards. One's going to give you certain objectives, one's going to be all the various items and different things you'll encounter and collect, and then one's going to be your rooms that you'll move through. And each of the room cards has several different 3-digit codes that are investigation points, and you can move your meeple onto one of those points during your turn and say, I investigate this, and you look up in this surprisingly dense book of choose your own adventure style listings where you'll say, all right, number 102 is this, and it's a grate in the ground, and it's going to tell you that you notice something shiny down there. If only you had something that you would be able to get it. Well, if you happen upon a tool that you think would work for it, that is a card, say, number 10, well, then you could look up in the book to the 5-digit codes and you see if the combination of those results in anything, and it may prompt you that something else happens. Because there's no real fail state in this game, you can kind of just muddle your way through and use an item and continue to look up, does it work with this? Does it work with this? Does it work with this? But there is a degree of intuition and there is some degree of risk in the game. So one of the interesting things is that you have characters, and sometimes a story prompt will say, if this person is in the room, then do X, Y, and Z. And then you also have health points, which are really just a way of tracking how many points you get by the time you finish the game, because you are going to finish. There's not really any fail state to speak of, and so you have to have some way of patting yourself on the back. We didn't really care that much about it. It was mainly just about seeing through the story, making it through the adventure, and feeling clever when we're like, aha, of course this knife can be combined with this other thing and then be placed in the thing which leads to the other thing, which of course gives us the thing that solves the other thing. The other unique thing about this is it's separated into 3 separate sessions. You can play all back to back, but each one takes about an hour, and there's a system in here to save so that you have persistent progress. And best of all, unlike the exit games, is that this thing, it has a lot of replayability because you don't have to tear up anything, you don't have to fold anything. They are just cards that it will tell you when to throw things back in the box, but otherwise everything is just the interaction of the items, the rooms, and the numbers that you're going to find in the book. Now, as far as what makes it cool, well, most of it. Honestly, I really had a great time playing this game. In fact, I'd go so far as saying that my wife and I thoroughly enjoyed this much more than we do the exit games. This one felt like something that we could really have a fun, relaxing time on and weren't doing homework, if that makes sense. I mean, we got a kid, we got a life, we got a family. Being able to put this down and also bear the fruits of intuitive discovery in any given session, rather than to have to bear with the frustration of just not getting past a certain puzzle, was really nice. And the low stakes made it so that we could experiment without feeling like we were risking anything. I really enjoyed my time with this. I think that the ability to save and handle it in 3 different hour-long sessions was perfect and worked great for us. And I think that the overall system is incredibly clever and devised in such a way that it makes you feel they've planned for just about any sort of occurrence that you could try to make something work. Another thing that I really like is that there are divergent paths. There are also some moments in which you can break items, And that may have ramifications later on that will come about where the story prompt will ask you, do you have this card? It's really kind of cool. The thing that I really don't like about this is the gamification, the things that feel like they're slavish to making it a more traditional tabletop game. Like, I don't like having to move my piece from spot to spot in a room, especially because you can move from your room to any other room on the map, so there's no limitation on the movement. All it really does is allow for certain story moments where it says anyone who's in this room has such and such happen to them, which usually has to do with losing or gaining a health point, and that's part of the gamification that I don't really care about. I don't really care about the points in this game. It really doesn't add anything to the game, and I thought that was kind of lame, but one of the only lame things. Only other thing is some of the artwork is kind of questionable by 2020 standards, but hey, I can give it a pass because some of the room artwork looks really, really good. So final thoughts. I think this is super cool. If you are into low stakes cooperative narrative things, then this is definitely worth checking out. It feels original, it feels clever, it feels cool, and best of all is that once you're done with it, it is still complete. You can reorganize this and just hand it to a friend, and it is exactly like the experience that you originally had. And that is so much better for your peace of mind than playing through a game once, tearing it to pieces, and then just throwing it all in the recycling bin. So aside from the awkward gamification and some of the kind of less than stellar artwork, I'm really impressed with this, and I can't wait to play the next one, which I just so happen to have monochrome ink here. So we'll be checking that out next, and I'll do a little addendum to this to let you know how that went. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.